Hey all, this is PotatoLegion here. I hope you're keeping well. I'm going to be making a very short and brief guide onto my favourite add-ons and favourite builds for new Legion players. I get a lot of comments on my YouTube channels of people asking me for build suggestions and what do I think of their build, and I'm going to hopefully answer all of those questions in one video so that if anyone asks me in the future, I can just point them to this video. So guys, I'm going to be showing off what add-ons I think are the best for Legion to begin with. He has a lot of different add-ons in terms of slowing down Feral Frenzy fatigue, increasing the duration of Feral Frenzy, decreasing the mending timers, all that stuff. I'm going to go over the best add-ons first as to what I think are the best for Legion. Stolen Sketchbook to increase your Feral Frenzy duration is very, very nice. It's going to allow you to get everyone injured if they are very close by, and will just buy you a little bit more time in Feral. And this ties so well with the deface smiley pin, and I argue to this day that this is a much better pin than the Legion pin, which applies the broken status effect. And the reason being is because as a Legion player, the whole point of using your power is to slow down the game. People have to mend and then they have to heal. So if you apply the broken status effect on them, this is great for getting downs, but the big downside to this is survivors can't heal, so the only other option they have to do is the gens, which is then going to lose you time. You want them to heal, and if you apply the mangled status effect on them, they're going to still try to heal, but now they're going to do it 20% slower. So if you can bring this over the broken pin, I would highly recommend it. I've seen a lot more success in my games bringing this over the Legion pin, just because survivors still heal and they're wasting time, and it then buys me more time to get those downs and get those extra hooks. You can bring overpowered add-ons like the iridescent button. I say overpowered because it actually kind of is on Legion. You can instantly break pallets when you vault them, and you can see everyone on the map. Doesn't matter how far they are, you can cover the entire map with one Feral Frenzy hit. You get that amazing information out of this. That's why it's an iridescent add-on. If you're struggling with games or you think you're going against a good team, I would highly recommend bringing this. I wouldn't go overkill with bringing deface smiley pin. If you're going to bring the iridescent button, make sure you bring Feral Frenzy duration add-ons, because you want to make sure that you can get everybody injured. The big downside to this is when you hit somebody, it can kind of be confusing as to the distancing if you can see everyone's heartbeats, and it's kind of hard to judge whether or not you should leave the person you're chasing and go chase off someone in the distance. That's the only downside, but it's a very good add-on. You may be asking what I think about the mending duration add-ons. I personally wouldn't use them. It buys you a little bit more time when they're mending, but I'd honestly recommend bringing the deface smiley pin. Okay, now let's go into perks. I want to start off by going as if you've just bought the game. The first killer you've bought is Legion, and you haven't got any other killer. I would highly recommend bringing Discordance, which is obviously Legion's teachable. This allows you to see when multiple people on a gen. You can go over there and injure multiple people with your power. Sloppy Butcher is a good alternative for Thanatophobia when you're first starting off, as when you down the survivor, they'll still have the mangled effect, and then they have to be healed, which is 20% slower, thus buying you a little bit more time. You really should not be using your basic attack when injuring someone, especially when there's a group of people around. You should be using your power. That's why the deface smiley pin comes in really well, especially with Sloppy Butcher, because then throughout the game, no matter what sort of attack you use, they're always going to have the mangled status effect, which is just going to buy you more time. Bitter Murmur is a good low-level information perk. When a gen is completed, you can see the auras for 5 seconds, and then when all the gens are done, you've got an extra 10 seconds to see everyone auras. It allows you the great information that you need to know where to go and down survivors. Spies from the Shadows, I think, is actually a very good information perk as well. You may be thinking, but Potato, I've got Bitter Murmur. Well, I can't think of any other healthy alternative for low level, and it's really good for when you're in chase as well, because someone may disturb a crow running away from the area where your terror radius is, and then you know to use Feral Frenzy on the survivor that you're currently chasing, and you know roughly which direction to go quickly. It's actually a really great information perk as well, and kind of underestimated. So this is the build that I would bring if you've just started out the game. Okay, so this is a very good slowdown build. I'm going to bring a video link up top so you can see this in action against a very good team. This build allows you to stop gens kind of being done in your face, and I'll explain why. So Thrilling Tremors is a great information perk. When you pick up a survivor, 16 seconds the gens are blocked, and the ones that are currently being worked on won't be blocked. So you know which gen is currently being worked on, and you can go over there and disturb it. If you bring this build with Surge and Pop, when survivors try and do a gen in your face as a group, if you down a survivor that's about to make it pop, Surge will blow up the gen, and it will also blow up gens in a 32 meter radius, but then it will stop that gen being popped in your face, and then you can pick up the survivor, and with Thrilling Tremors, it will just buy you that time to go and safely hook the survivor, and then if they try and touch it again, you can then pop it once you've pushed them back off it. You'll see what I mean in the video up top, where the survivors basically keep trying to do the gen because it's so close, but thanks to Thrilling Surge and Pop, I managed to stop it and defend it. This build is all about defending those generators with your life, and to tie this in, Thanatophobia, obviously Legion is one of the best killers in the game for getting everyone injured, and I cannot recommend Thana enough. Once you've got everyone injured, it's going to massively encourage them to heal, and if you're bringing the deface smiley pin, you're going to punish them for that, and it's going to take them longer, thus buying you more time to get more Pop Goes the Weasels, more Surge procs, and more information from Thrilling Tremors. This build is really nasty, and it is great for gen protection. Let's move on to the next build that I would suggest. Right, this is the build what I call the Please Heal Me Teammate build. If you're running this build, I promise you, your team are going to want to heal. Now, the whole point of this perk combination is to basically encourage survivors to heal. And if you bring the deface smiley pin as well, you're really going to punish them. But for this build in particular, I would actually recommend the broken pin because of Blood Echo. So you want to get everyone injured with your Fell Frenzy, ideally in the broken state if you've bought the broken pin. And then they will be exhausted once you've hooked that survivor. And of course, with Mindbreaker as well, there won't be any sprint bursts. They're not getting away from you. This build is going to keep them exhausted for most of the game, and it's going to allow you to win chases very quickly. And the reason I bring Discordance with this is because with Mindbreaker, when you go disturb that gem with Discordance, there ain't going to be anyone using their exhaustion perks to get away with you. They physically can't. So it's going to allow you to get those injuries in very quickly, which means Thanatophobia is going to absolutely destroy those gens and really slow them down. And then once you finally get some hooks in, Blood Echo will also assist you as well with making them all exhausted. And all survivors are going to want to do in this build is heal, thus buying you some time. The massive downsides to this is you've got no gen slowdown, you've got to be very confident at winning chases, and this is a very aggressive build. I'm going to suggest another aggressive build right now. So this is another aggressive build that I would highly recommend. And if you're feeling extra mean, bring the iridescent button with this build. Now I'm bringing Spirit Fury. If you break 2 pallets, the next one that hits your head, you'll instantly break it, allowing you to end chases very quickly. Enduring reduces the stun duration by 50%. You should always tie this in with Spirit Fury because it allows you to get that down so quickly. Be very careful though, once survivors cotton on that you have Spirit Fury in your arsenal, they will know to avoid it by dropping the pallet early. So what I would highly recommend doing is kind of respecting pallets early on when you know they're going down, and don't show that you have Enduring in your arsenal. And then when Spirit Fury is ready to proc, then get hit by it and give them that massive surprise of the Enduring and Spirit Fury at once. Don't let them know you have this in your arsenal, because the second you do, they will instantly think you're running Spirit Fury and they can counter it very easily. Bringing Surge instead of Pop, because this build is all about being aggressive. It's not about slowing down gens, but Surge will still help buy you that little bit of time that you need with this build. Bringing Barbecue and Chili, you don't have to bring this, but it's a good information perk, as when you hook to Survivor, it's great information as to know where to go. You're constantly being aggressive back and forth with this build. You can bring Thrilling Tremors with this, or Discordance if you like. I just think Barbecue and Chili is probably the best perk for this setup. And obviously, as I said, bring Iridescent Button if you're feeling really mean. Even when you vault pallets and instantly break them, it still counts as a Spirit Fury stack. So with this setup, with the button, very disgusting build to go against. Okay guys, this is one of my favorite builds. This is the ultimate Legion slowdown build, and I'd highly recommend you bring the D-Face smiley pin with duration add-ons for this build. Thanatophobia, as you know, when you injure a survivor, they do gens 5% slow up to a maximum of 20%, which is really, really nice, and this stacks really well with Dying Light. Now you may be thinking your Obsession does 33% faster things. If you stack this with Thanatophobia, they'll be going 20% slower once everyone is injured. Thus, they've only got 13% extra speed. And then when you start to get stacks, they will lose that benefit very, very, very quickly. And obviously, everyone on the team has 3% gen slowdown, healing as well, and sabotage speed. So if you have a sabotage team you're going against, this will hurt them as well. Tie this in with Thrilling Tremors over any other information perks. Blocking those gens is just going to buy you more time. 16 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but it really, really is. If they aren't on any gens and you've blocked them for 16 seconds, it's going to give you plenty of time to find them again and get them injured, and they're not being productive. They're going to really want to try and heal with this build, but if you bring the D-Face smiley ping and Dying Light, it's really, really going to hurt them. It's going to suck. I can't think of a way for a team to win against this build unless you're being really, really productive and you have really, really good healing perks. They're really going to struggle with this. It's a really, really strong build, and I've only lost to Survivor Friends groups that have brought absolute sweaty perks and add-ons and items themselves. So yes, this build is very, very nice, very, very good for slowdown, and I've got plenty of videos of me showing this off. I'll leave a card up top as well. Okay, I call this the great slowdown build and information perk build. So we're bringing Ruin with Undying. As you know, this is a great combination to keep your Ruin active on the field, and when you push survivors off a gen, they're going to be 200% slower. And of course with Legion, if you hit them with your power, they have to mend. Thus Ruin will still beat that gen up while they're trying to mend. Very, very good on Legion. If you can keep these two perks active on the field for a very long time, survivors are really, really going to hate it. And I know Undying got nerfed. It's why I probably wouldn't recommend this build over anything else, because it's very, very inconsistent. And the previous builds I've suggested are way more consistent than this build. But, big but, if you keep these two on the field, you're going to be unstoppable, especially with Discordance and Tinkerer. Now, you may be thinking they do the same sort of thing. They give information on a gen where it's about to be done, because normally when survivors on a gen together, it's going to get done very quickly, and you know where to go anyway. But tie this in with Tinkerer because it will give you the information that you need whether or not you commit to a gen or not. So if Tinkerer procs and there's no Discordance proc, then you know you have time to go and stop it. But if you're busy somewhere else and the gen is very far away and Discordance and Tinkerer proc, you know to focus your attention elsewhere on what you're currently doing. So a lot of people have Tinkerer proc and then they just leave a survivor that they're currently chasing, but they don't know that there's actually two people on it and they can't physically get there in time, so they waste their time, whereas it would have been more smart for them to commit to the survivor that they were currently chasing. It's a very, very good combination. You can easily defend gens when you have all of these still active. Of course, as I said, the massive downside is survivors have got ways to finding two totems very, very quickly, and if they're on comms, they can communicate which areas have dull totems and which areas haven't been searched yet, and they will quickly find your totems. So this is a very strong build, but it's very inconsistent. And I would bring these two add-ons again, just to slow them down from healing. If you bring the Broken Pin, they're going to continue to do gens because of Ruin, whereas if you've got the D-Face Smiley Pin, they may be encouraged to heal. Or I would bring the increased mending time add-ons with this build in particular, make them mend for longer, thus Ruin does more work. The build I'm going to suggest here is kind of gimmicky, but I have got over 10 wins with this very easily. I only lost to a team on a big map, and they found my Lullaby very quickly. But the same sort of principle with Ruin though. They could find it very quickly. But Lullaby isn't something survivors go out of their way to find early game. So you're going to get great use out of it. You do not care that it's on 5 tokens. If you get it to 5 tokens, fantastic. But this means survivors are obviously going to try and find it then. But between 1 and 4 tokens, you get the 6% extra regression. Now, when you tie this in with overcharge, you get an additional 5%. So every time you kick a gen, and if they miss it, they're going to lose 21% because you've got the 10% base kit, you've got the 5% from overcharge, and you've got the 6% from lullaby. So they're going to lose 21% every time you kick it, and there's no cooldown for this. You can keep kicking it. So it's really, really strong. And if you tie this in with oppression, they're also going to get a random skill check, and if they miss it, it's 16% lost on that gen if they miss it. And obviously if there's 2 people on the gen and they both miss the oppression skill check, that's 32%. I've literally seen gens go down to 0 when they've almost been done because they missed my oppression skill check and they kept missing thanks to lullaby. It's such a nasty build setup. Give it a go. It's really, really fun and gimmicky to use, and I got a lot of, oh my god, I hate this build you're bringing, when the survivors talked to me in the in-game chat. It was kind of funny. I would bring Undying with this, of course, because you want to defend your lullaby. It will get found very, very quickly, but at least Undying buys you that little bit more time to get great use out of Overcharge and Lullaby combo. Guys, that is it. I could suggest hundreds of more different gimmicky and perk combinations that go well together, but these are the builds that I personally like and have used in the past and I have videos on. So give it a try, see what you think, and if you have any build suggestions of your own that I haven't suggested, or you prefer different add-ons, let me know in a comment below. Let's discuss this. Let's get our brains together and think about what the best Legion combination honestly is. It'd be great to hear back from you. And if anyone in my YouTube community asks me any future questions on different videos, I'm going to direct them here. And then hopefully we can have loads of comments talking about Legion and what the best combinations are. Guys, I hope you found this a little bit useful and you sort of understand what sort of builds I like to use and what add-ons I think are good for Legion. Guys, I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.